And finally, for today's episode, let's turn to Elizabeth Henry for a look at Adventist history.
This week, we look at the life and work of Elizabeth Gauterau.
Welcome to This Week in Adventist History, where we look at the life of a woman whose work began the spread of the Adventist message in Central America. Elizabeth Gauterau, née Elwin, was born on February 3, 1838, on Roatan Bay Islands, Honduras, the youngest of 12 children. In 1865, Elizabeth married Frank Thomas Gauterau, a French carpenter, and eventually moved to San Francisco, California in the early 1870s. It was while she was in San Francisco that Elizabeth was invited to an Adventist camp meeting by her neighbor. She accepted Christ and became a Seventh-day Adventist. For several years thereafter, she sent magazines and tracts to her family in Belize and in Rondan. In December 1885, Elizabeth started her journey back to Belize in the Bay Islands, arriving in Roatan in February 1886, where she found her family keeping the Sabbath. She carried her trunks filled with books, Signs of the Time magazines, and other gift materials. During her stay, Elizabeth shared her fate with a dozen islanders, visited all the villages in Roatan Islands and some of the villages on Notila Island. She returned to San Francisco in August 1886 and convinced church leaders of the urgency of sending missionaries to Honduras. Thus, in January 1887, C.H. Gibbs was sent to visit the Bay Islands and to distribute more Adventist literature. During his trip, Gibbs led a series of meetings from the home of Elizabeth's relatives. And in 1891, Frank Hutchin received an invitation from the General Conference to work in Honduras. Elizabeth passed away on March 9, 1894, at the age of 56. To find out more about the life of Elizabeth Gauterau or the church's history in Central America, please visit the Encyclopedia of Seventh-day Adventists online at encyclopedia.adventist.org. This has been a look at This Week in Adventist History.